Dear students, before we start discussing the poem, The Ball poem, written by John Berryman, I'd like to introduce myself. Myself, Utul Gora. After returning from a central government job, presently I am teaching in one of the privately managed English high school in Jamaguri Hat. During discussion of the poem, the Ball poem, we shall come across various things, various topics and various explanation. I request all students, whoever is viewing this video, to kindly keep a paper and pen handy with you and note down special points which will help you to understand the poem better. For complete understanding of the poem, we'll discuss the poem under 5 headings. Number 1, about the poet. Number 2, what does the poet wants to communicate through the poem? Number 3, what is the background of the poem? If you know the background of the poem beforehand, before actually studying the poem, it will help you to understand the things better. Next, some special words, or you can say terminology, that are being used in the poem. Knowledge of this in advance will help you out to understand the poem. And lastly, we have line by line detailed understanding of the poem. So first, about the poet. As you know, the poet John Berryman is an American poet. He is a major literary figure of America in the second half of 20th century. The most important contribution was a poems collection, The Dream Songs, in 1969, for which Berryman got Pulitzer Prize. The present poem, that is Ball poem, has been taken from another collection, that is Collected Poems, same, written by John Berryman. That is all about the poet. Now, what does the poet want to communicate through the poem? You can say what is the theme of the poem, or you can say what are the messages of the poem. Anyway, you can understand. So, there are 3 important points that the poet wants to say through the poem. Number 1, the poem has an universal appeal. When you call universal appeal, it means it is applicable to all, for all the people across the globe, across various social strata, social status. That universal appeal is that everyone likes to possess something which he or she can call of his own. And that shows the materialistic feelings, materialistic pursuits of a man. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how big or how costly or how valuable that particular item is. It may be a small thing, but if we possess it, if we have it, if it belongs to me, then we will have a feeling of belongingness. And that feeling, due to that feeling of belongingness, is you will have a sentimental attachment with all those things. This is universally applicable across the world. You take any status of man, anybody. So the poem has that first universal appeal. Number two, the poet wants the people to live the life. Life is precious. It is divine. It is full of energy. But sometimes some negative energy may come in the life, which negative energy may try to take you in different way. You may feel doomed. You may feel sad. You may feel life is nothing. Situations may come, but you must have that courage. You must have that ability. You must have that determination of mind that let whatever comes in my way, I shall conquer them. I shall win them. I shall bring all negative energy. I shall change all negative energy to the positive energy in life. That is the most important point that has been brought out in the poem. Number three, the best experience to get something is through pain. If always there is only good and good in your life, if you do not get any pain, you cannot actually get the knowledge of what is called life. Life is a combination of all good, bad, everything. So, pain, if you get pain in your life, that pain will make you perfect. It will embolden your mind. It will make you strong enough to face the situation boldly, and you will come out triumphantly. So, the best experience of life is that experience when you get it through pain, sufferings, and all those things. So these are the three basic points, basic messages or theme you can say, which the poet wants to communicate through the poem, the whole poem. Now, third point is, what is the background? If you know the background of the poem beforehand, before we actually go to the poem, it will help you to understand the poem better. So what is the background? The poet mentions about a boy, young boy, who was playing with a ball. Here, that ball is just a metaphor. You know metaphor? Metaphor is that which tells about, which represents something, which symbolizes something, that is called metaphor. The ball is used as a metaphor for our materialistic belonging, for our material belonging. The boy is playing merrily, he is very happy. All his young days are associated with that ball. Suddenly, he lost the ball. By losing the ball, his condition has become pitiable. He was in complete doom, sorrow, sadness. He has lost the ball. The poet was observing, but the poet didn't say anything to the boy. The poet thought the boy should understand how to take care of his own belongings. The boy should understand how painful it is if one possesses something of his own. The boy should understand how one is emotionally attached to something that one possesses, belongs, has. So to have a person experience of losing something, to make him understand his responsibility to take care of his own belonging, the poet, though he was also feeling sad because the boy was sad, but the poet didn't say anything. He made the boy to understand through his pain. And this individual example of the boy, the poet has related with the mankind as a whole. Everyone who loses something with whom he has a sentimental attachment, definitely he will feel for that. That is the general background of the poem. And next is some special terminology. These are not hard words, uncommon words, but these are the special words that you can say. The most important term used in the poem is epistemology. So if you understand the meaning of epistemology, then it will be easier for you to understand the meaning when you go actually further to the poem. What is epistemology? Epistemology is the study of knowledge. Knowledge means gyan. So if a man gets some gyan, knowledge, so we study how he has got that knowledge, how he has got that gyan. And that knowledge, but there is a condition, that gyan, that knowledge, one should get from his experience. And again there is a condition, that experience should be based on some logical and reasonable, rational cause. I shall give you one small example to understand this term better. Suppose one small child, he does not know if he puts his finger in a lighted candle, it will burn. He is innocent, he does not know. Suddenly, accidentally, one day, he has put his finger in the fire, in the lighted candle. He got burned. Immediately, he withdrew himself. He withdraws himself. But in that process, he understood that if I put my finger in the lighted candle, my finger will burn. That is the experience. So he has got an experience. And that experience was again based on some reason. Because lighted candle means fire. Fire has a quality of burning something. So that experience he has got from some rational reasoning, and that experience has given him the knowledge that if I put my finger in the lighted candle or fire, my finger will get burned. So that is the epistemology, study of knowledge, and that knowledge should be gained from some experience, and that experience should come from some logical reasoning. So now after this we will come to the main poem, that is line by line detailed summary of the poem. If you see the pink box in the poem, you will just see whatever I have told till now, those are only reproduced here. So again, I shall not reproduce them, I shall not tell anything about them, but I shall come to the main poem. You have to understand that the fact of the young boy, when I discuss about the background, I told you, the boy has already lost the ball. After losing the ball, he was a pensive mood, a sorrowful mood. That time the poet has seen, and by seeing that poet, by seeing the condition of the boy, what was the reaction of the poet? So the poem starts with that questioning of the about the boy. What is the boy now? He is telling that boy is now meaningless, nothing. The boy is in very pitiful condition. So what is the poor condition of the boy now? only some time back he was very happy, but now his condition is very poor, very bad. Who has lost his ball? The boy, he has lost his ball, and thereby his condition is very bad. Is pitiable. His condition is pitiable. What is he to do? Now, after losing the ball, what will he do now? The ball is not simply a ball for him. Here, the ball has personified something. The ball represents the good feelings of the boy. Once the ball has been lost, it means the boy has lost all the good feelings that he had till now. And now what he'll do? He's hopeless. He's finding all his ways blocked. I saw it go. I means the poet. The poet says that I saw when the ball was going. Means the boy was playing the ball, and there the poet was watching, and when the ball had gone to the water, that time the poet was seeing how the ball is going. I saw it go, merely bouncing. Here, the ball is considered like a boy. Ball is personified like a boy. A boy, generally what he does, he merely play. Then like that, the ball, what was doing? The ball was merely bouncing. Bouncing, you know, I think. Bouncing means if you take a rubber ball and just throw on the floor, a hard floor, you will find the ball will jump up. Not only once, it will jump, again go down, again jump, again go down, like that. That is called bouncing. So the ball was bouncing merrily. It has gone in some other direction where the boy was throwing. It has not gone in that direction. It has gone in some other way. And while going, the ball was bouncing happily, merrily down the street. It was going down the street, and then merrily of her, again after that, with a happy mood, the ball had gone into the water. It means here the poet considers the ball as a boy, personifies. It's a metaphor. I told you earlier, metaphor means if we use a term to symbolize or represent some other thing, then that is called metaphor. Here, ball is a metaphor for the boy's liking or boy's good feelings. So, till here, what you understood? The poet was saying, the boy was playing with a ball. The boy lost the ball, and the poet was saying, the ball was going merrily down the street, bouncing itself over and over again, and lastly, it has fallen on the water, where the boy cannot bring it back. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. Why? Why the poet says that there is no reason, no way to say that there are other balls. Yes, ball is a small thing. It will cost a very small amount. But that is the main thing. That is the central point, central idea of the poem. That though the ball is a small thing, but that ball belonged to the boy. The boy had an emotional attachment with the ball. Throughout his younger days, he had played with the ball. So, the ball represents all that is good, all that is happy, all that is positive about the boy. So it is not simply a rubber ball or like that. When you discuss about the term possession, I told you that we get an emotional attachment with a material thing. So boy too had a emotional attachment with the ball. So it was very important for the boy. So if I say, oh, don't worry, boy, don't worry, there are many balls, I will give you some other balls. No, this particular ball, though very tiny, very small, very cheap, yet it cannot represent, it cannot replace the ball which the boy had been playing since his childhood, where his childhood memory is attached, and all good feelings the boy gets when he plays with the ball. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. An ultimate means absolute, to maximum, ultimate. Shaking grief fixes the boy. The boy is completely in grief. The boy is completely in grief. Grief, dukh. He is completely in grief, sorrow, sadness. The boy has become very, very sad when he saw that the ball with which he had been playing since his childhood had fallen in the water, from where he cannot bring back the ball. Existence rigged. He became motionless. What to do? If someone is in extreme grief, extreme sorrow, highly sentimental, what happens? We become motionless. We become rigid. We become like a tree, immovable. So same thing happened to the boy. The pain was so striking, so serious, that the boy had become rigid, motionless. He was trembling, kopa. In Assamese, it is called kopa. He was trembling. Why was he trembling? Because he has lost something very dear to him, with whom he had lived his childhood. He was trembling. Then, staring down all the young boys, he became nostalgic. What does it become nostalgic? Nostalgic means looking back to your good old days with emotion, with feelings. He became nostalgic. He had looked back to his childhood. All across his childhood, he had played with a ball. Staring down, staring means to look straight deeply to something. All his young days means he was deeply looking to his young days when he was a child. Into the harbor where his ball went, and he found that during all his young days, childhood days, he had played in the harbor. Harbor means riverside. Otherwise, harbor means it is something, bank of a big river or sea where ships move. But here you can say riverside. So he looked back deeply into his old young days, childhood days, and he found that he was playing merrily in the riverside, in the side of the water body where his ball had gone now. This is the first part of the poem where the condition of the boy is explained. This is the condition of the boy is explained, which has been observed by the poet. So I think up to here it is clear. In a nutshell, I will tell again, the boy was very deeply sad by losing his ball, which he was playing in the riverside. Suddenly, the ball missed the way and down the street it bounced merrily, and at the last merrily it fell in the harbor, in the water. The boy was deeply at sorrow by seeing his ball missing in the water, because it was not a simply ball for him. The whole childhood memories was attached with the ball. It was not a simply ball, rubber ball costing few cents or something like that, but it was much more than that. He became rigid, motionless, he trembled, he was shaking, and he deeply looked back to his childhood days when in the riverside he was playing merrily with the ball and passed his childhood days happily. Now the second part, that is from the poet. What the poet says, I would not intrude on him, intrude to interfere, hastakhet in Assamese. I would not intrude on him. The poet was saying, yes, the boy is very unhappy. The boy was in shaking, trembling. Yet the poet had some. Poet was also not happy by seeing the boy in that condition. But what the poet says, no, I shall not interfere. I shall not intrude into his condition. A dime ender ball is worthless. Yes, the ball is very cheap. It is only 10 cents. When you call 10 cents, it may be equivalent to some 10 pies in India. So a ball, a very small ball of say 10 cents, as I told earlier, cent means is a unit of dollar. 100 cents makes $1. So only 10 cent dime, 10 cent. It is something like, 50 paisa we call 8 ana. Nowadays it is not here. 25 pies we are calling sari ana. If you don't know, nowadays this sari ana, 8 ana are not there. You can ask your parents and clear what is sari ana and 8 ana are. So dime is also like that. So a ball is a very cheap one. It is just costing some 10 cents, a very small amount. And we can buy ender ball, but it is worthless. If I buy a ball which is costing just 10 cents and give to the boy, it will make no difference for him. He cannot come out from his sadistic state, from his sad state. He will be in the same condition. It is worthless. Why? Because the ball which he has lost, as I have covered earlier, it was not simply a ball for him. It was something which was very close to his heart, with whom he felt a sense of belonging, with whom he played something divine, some very good feelings he got from that ball. So yes, it is a very small amount, but whether it is big amount or small amount, it cannot replace the new ball cannot replace or cannot be as worthy as the old ball which the boy has lost. Now, his senses is first responsibility, most important one, the most important line in the poem. First responsibility. What is responsibility? Responsibility means the state of mind in which you feel, yes, I have to take care of something. That is responsibility. If you are responsible, it means you know what all you have to do to take care of something, how to safeguard that something. That is called responsibility. What duties you have to perform to keep your belonging safe, secured, and not lost. So this is the first time he understood, yes, I have failed to do my duties. Definitely, he was playing with the ball. He should have thought, if I miss my direction, the ball will fall into the water. He was facing towards the water body and playing with the ball. If he would have been facing some other direction, not towards the water body, then he would have not lost. So he had not done his duties properly. He has not taken adequate care for protecting his belongings, his item. So first, this is the first sense of responsibility he got. He understood, yes, it was mine and I had to do it. So he missed that most important point. So first, in his life, he understood, I should have been more careful, I should have been more duty-bound, I should have been more serious in protecting the things which belong to me. In a world of possessions, this world, as I told earlier, our first point, what the point wanted to communicate. This is a universal truth. In this world, everyone wants to possess something. So, he, the child, also wants to possess. What he was possessing? He was possessing a ball. So, in this world of possession, everyone wants to get some materialistic benefit, materialistic gain. Everyone wants to have something which he or she can call of his own, and everyone must take adequate care, must do his duties properly, must be responsible enough to protect his belongings, possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always. Here, as I earlier told, balls is a metaphor. That ball metaphor has been used with our worldly possession, material possession, the things that we own. That is, the ball represents two things as a metaphor. Number one, for the boy, the ball is also a sentimental, represents, symbolizes the sentimental good feeling of the boy, which he had during the young days. Number two, the ball also symbolizes, represents the material possessions of the people. So, it is a fact that in the world definitely people will keep owning, getting, earning more and more things. Balls will be lost. Again, the items which we have gained, we have earned, it will be keep losing. It's a continuous process. Little boy. So what he says, in this world of possession, everyone wants to possess something. And what we possess, what we get, what we earn, those things we will be losing. But what is the main point? But that should not affect our mental state. Little boy, it is a normal thing. The poet is consoling. The poet is making the child to understand that a ball was your possession. You can buy some other balls. It means you can buy some other things. The ball will be again lost. It means you lost the things, little boy, but don't get distracted. Don't feel bad for that. Yes, you will be unhappy. That unhappy feelings should not take over your mind. Money is external. Money doesn't mean, okay, money comes and goes. You will keep possessing. He is learning. Who is learning? The boy is learning. The boy is learning that money is not everything, because the ball is only 10 cents, very small amount. But so much small amount ball is also, the ball costing so much small amount is also very dear to him, very near to his heart, very near to his mind. So he understood the fact that it is not the money. Money is not everything. More than money, it is the feelings, it is the sentiments which matters. He is learning, the boy is learning that. Well behind his desperate eyes, desperate, what to do, what not to do. What is the meaning of desperate? A state of mind when you are in a very poor mood, you are unable to decide what to do, what not to do. That is a desperate. So the boy is in that state, a very poor state, what to do, what not to do. He is thinking that in that condition, he is understanding, he is learning that money is not everything. It is more than money. It is the things which is near to your heart, near to your mind, that you should protect. The epistemology of laws. We have discussed in detail about epistemology. It is knowledge of laws. What is called laws? The true meaning of laws, the boy understood now. He got the complete meaning of loss. How loss is painful. Now only the boy could understand. Earlier, he was not serious enough. He was not understanding how serious a loss is. But now he got the knowledge of how painful loss can be. How to stand up. Stand up means to face bravely. Yes, loss is a normal factor. As I told, people will take balls. Balls will be lost always. Like it means, whatever you get, it will be lost. But that loss should not break you. You should be determined enough, you should be strong enough, courageous enough to come out from that state of mind, to take that loss in control and bravely face the life. Knowing what every man must one day know. And the boy is also knowing that every man in his life at least once will have to go through this condition. Every man in his life, at least for once, he will go through this condition of loss. He will feel pitiable, he will feel poor, and lastly, he must stand up and come out successfully from this poor condition. And most know many days how to stand up. And many people, they know for a long time how to face this condition when you are in a doomed condition, you are in poor condition because of loss. So, this is the brief summary of the poem. As I said earlier, here some metaphors have been used. Number one metaphor was ball. The ball was like the boy, the ball, in the poem it is given that the ball was merrily bouncing. A ball cannot bounce itself. Generally a child does. So here the ball has been represented as a young boy who bounces merrily across the road and play. And that is all about the poem. I think students, you have been benefited by this poem, a beautiful poem written by John Berryman, and I think it is quite useful for you. Thank you.